Hello, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, today we want to talk a little bit about the aviation consortium that we are building. And you are an expert in the industry. So I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Thank you, Priya, for considering me. Uh, I have been in the aviation industry for last 47 years. First of all, I am an aviation journalist. I started my career as a understudy in a company. After that, I started my own magazine in 2000, in 1986, and I stopped the magazine in 2013. In the meantime, I founded the MRO Association of India in 2000, 2011. And since then, I have been working in various type of work concerning Indian aviation industry. I have also had the pleasure of being on the sitting on the 5-year plan commission. I have also worked with the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Ministry of Defense, and the like. So I have a all-around experience of aircraft manufacturing industry, MRO industry, the supply chain industry, the ministry, the Civil Aviation Ministry, Ministry of Defense,
Yeah.
PMO, and all. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, I think in terms of the aviation industry, it's quite a small industry, and quite a niche industry. But still, it contributes about 2% of the overall carbon contributions. And the amount, the industry is size is quite big in terms of the value that it contributes. I think based on your view, what would you say is sustainability in terms of the aviation industry?
Uh, the sustainability of the aviation industry is a very, very important point at this juncture, not only in world aviation, in Indian aviation too. I can tell you about Indian aviation industry. We are trying to build some platforms in India in the manufacturing front. As you know, we are building the Airbus. Uh, Now it is Airbus. It is C 295 platform for the Indian Air Force and Indian Navy. We are also building the HS 125 helicopter in India. Recently, Mahindra Aerospace has signed up with another aviation manufacturer to build another platform. So India is progressing towards a manufacturing hub. It has been trying for very long to get into this space. Uh, Now we are trying to chart out our plans of manufacturing. In the space field, you know, we have done quite big wonders with the last being Chandrayaan, the vehicle. Space field, we are quite self-sufficient. In the field of aviation now, we have had many airlines come and go. The classic example is Kingfisher, Jet Airways, Air Sahara. They have all wound down.
Yeah.
Now you have Air India, the Tata Group,
Yes.
Air India, Air Vistara, Air Asia, and one more airline from the Tata Group.
Yeah.
Then you have India's biggest airline, Indigo.
Indigo.
And then you have SpiceJet,
Yeah.
which is in not so good condition, and
Yeah.
you have Akasa Air.
Yes.
Akasa is also a growing airline. It promises to be one of the big carriers in times to come.
Okay.
So we have in total around 800 plus aircraft in India,
Okay.
and so amongst all the airlines that I mentioned, there is also Indian Air India Express, which belongs to the government of India. Uh, so in total, we have 800 plus aircraft, and India has placed orders for another 1,500 to 1,700 aircraft, which will start coming very soon. In the
Okay.
meantime, SpiceJet, which was not faring so well, they have ordered for 19 aircraft of various sizes and various makes. The first one is to arrive from next month. 19 of them will be inducted on lease. So this is a big market. Apart from that, there are airlines like Indigo, Air India, and all. They are getting in new fleet and retiring the old ones. So most of the old fleet will be out of the service and replaced by new ones in the next 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Indian aviation industry is growing. So sustainability all depends on the financial arrangements. As you know, uh, I am not an expert to comment on financial arrangements,
Yes.
but one thing I can tell you, India's tried in getting the carbon emission, that is main thing of the day. We are ready to introduce the SAF fuel, which will enhance the carbon footprint of the Indian airline industry. I hope I could answer all your questions.
No, that was amazing. So, sir, what is this fuel you said? SA fuel.
SAF,
SAF.
Sustained Aviation Fuel.
Okay. So that's
Very well.
the yeah.
That's the it's a byproduct of it can be grown in fields. It's a
Yeah.
byproduct. So SAF is is the main thing that ICAO has also uh, appealed to all the aviation industry world over to switch to other forms of fuel.
Yeah.
So this is one form of fuel.
Okay. That's perfect. So, sir, in terms of the aviation industry, as you said, like it's even though there's 800 plus aircraft, but it's a quite a niche, small industry. How do you think a consortium model of all these various companies working in isolation, but then coming together for a united cause that could work together? And how do you think a consortium model could work?
Very good question, Priya. Our industry, though they serve the same cause, the aviation industry, the MRO industry, the OEM industry, the supply chain, but they work in silos. So they have to come together, and that was my aim in forming the MRO Association some years back in 2011. So there is a need for each and every aviation industry, be it airline, MRO, or supply chain or logistic, they have to come together to work for each other. This spirit is really missing, and I think the consortium that you are thinking of building will have a major role to play in shaping the future of Indian aviation industry.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, sir, in terms of the aviation industry, right, there are three or four subgroups. Like there are carriage-based aviation aircrafts. There is private jets, which are luxury as well as just helicopters, which are potentially quite old and just are needed for transferring less than three or four people from one location to another. And then there are these bigger airlines which have the Airbus and all the likes of that nature. And lastly, would potentially be the MRO industry as well, of whatever are the left parts or during the construction, which is again a huge industry in terms of the size of products that are created. So, how what would you think is the core problem that relates to each one of them, and then maybe one of the industry specific problems that you are seeing based on your experience of almost half a decade or half a century.
Yeah, half a century, almost. So let
Almost.
me first tell you the classification that we use commonly for aviation industry. We have business aircraft and general aircraft. That is the small aircraft group that you were talking about.
Okay.
They are used as private charters, or private companies have a number of aircraft in their fleet. They are called BA and GA, general aviation and business aviation aircraft. Along with those small business aviation and general aviation aircraft, they have the helicopters also in their fleet. So they also are used for primarily during election or during your charter flights or corporate flying. They are also used for the oil and gas industry, ONGC. There are few dedicated companies like Powerhance is one of them, which is a government-owned company which operates a fleet of helicopter in the use of the nation, including the oil and natural gas thing. There is there is Heligo, there is what do you call? There are other big companies who operate only helicopters for the oil and gas exploration platforms. Apart from this, there are the airline industry where I told you 800 plus aircraft are there.
Yeah.
So uh, there are challenges. There are big challenges. See, in the last decade, when Pawan Kingfisher failed, peop, the lessors were not willing to give any aircraft or engines to the Indian carriers because of their bad taste in their mouth of not getting back. The airlines were dead and they were not getting back their aircraft, where MRO Association played a big role. We spoke, we got representation from Airbus, ATR, and all, and we went and spoke to the ministry, and that problem was solved. So much so, two ATRs that were lying in Hyderabad were put into shape by GMR and then given to Jet Airways for operation. So these are small details that has happened. But in my opinion, there is a tremendous requirement for pilots and engineers and technical staff, uh, which have to be trained in India or abroad and brought into the aviation stream, mainstream. So, uh, we would require around 48,000 engineers in the coming days. And I'm not too sure about the pilot situation. It will be around 30 plus thousand pilots are required. So, as you know, we have a retirement age of 65 in in the Indian aviation industry. So, all the senior people are about to retire, and the young blood has to be inducted into aviation. It is not like US that they allow people to work up to 70, 75. Here we have a strict retirement norm laid down by the Director General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, UKCAA and EASA and FAA have different set of retirement rules. So there is a scope of youngsters being uh, getting entry into the aviation field. We have good amount of flying schools and engineering institutes in India who are being at the moment trained. GMR has put up a school for engineer. Indigo has a school for engineer. Thakur College of Engineering in Bombay has a EASA certified school. So we are building engineers here. We also have two flying school owned by the government, Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Uran Academy and Rajiv Gandhi Rashtriya Uran Academy, who are training people, young pilots. There are pilots who are getting trained outside, come into India, giving DGCA exams, and then we have the cadet program by Indigo, by Air India, where people are with that uh, education, they get conscripted into this airline. They have to sign a bond and then they get their type certification. So, all good, but the amount of aircraft that we are getting in and the new pilots and engineers that we are getting out, they will somewhere not match
Mm.
because experience is what is required. So, as I told you, older generation is going, the newer generation has to step in. We have in the helicopter field, we have got pilots, we call it FATA, foreign something, where we requisition pilots from international community to come and fly for us. It is very difficult because those pilots come to India, they spend 2 weeks in India, then they have to go on a paid leave, and then after 4 weeks, they will come back again and join. So there is a lull over there of seasoned pilots in the helicopter field, but we are trying to get more Indian trained pilots so that they can take work. So there are challenges, and every growing industry has challenges.
Yeah,
We can't
no, that's obviously.
do without challenges.
So, sir, basically, if I'm getting this right, earlier this industry was quite small and there was not that much of a requirement. But as this industry is scaling now and there is a huge requirement and it's gone through the teething phases, there are more opportunities as well. But because it's not the traditional opportunities, there's less awareness about it. In terms of uh, the costs of joining these schools or these trainings, as much as I understand, this is quite an expensive um, hobby to learn flying or to learn engineering or an education. Is that still right, or is in the Indian market we are able to get more subsidized opportunities for newer people, for the new generation to learn flying?
In Indian flying schools that I mentioned to you, two
Yeah,
government schools, and there are some private schools as well.
yeah,
I do not think there is any uh, subsidized training program.
yeah,
Uh, there is no scholarship.
yeah,
Okay. People have to pay around 5 to 7 lakhs per year for
yeah.
getting this education. Similarly, in maybe schools also, there is no
Scholarship.
sub
Yeah, sir, 5 to 7
scholarship.
lakhs is not that bad, but I would have thought that considering this is quite an expensive industry, maybe the education would be more
No,
expensive.
these are basic education.
Okay.
240 hours of flying
Yeah,
and instructional training.
yeah,
After this, a pilot gets his CPL and he has to go out of India to get the this is PPL, private pilot's license. After this, the student has to go out to Australia, New Zealand, or uh, the West, and then train on to get CPL. After which he or she comes back, and then enrolls in an airlines type certification program. And that is where they spend hell of a lot of money, and they have to sign a bond. I would not like to reveal the amount that they are spending
yeah.
uh, for the sake of not getting
Of course.
bashed up by the airlines.
Of course. So, but basically, you are saying that the airlines consume most of the cost at that stage. Once the
Yeah.
person has,
Yes.
so then it doesn't. It's not that expensive for. And sir, is there an
No,
age?
you have to sign a bond.
Yeah, of course. The bond is signed out, but still, the pressure of working capital or bringing in the money for education is eased off. Now, in
Yeah.
terms of the entry into this industry, can people enter at any point, or is it only at a certain age that you can enter?
No. One has to be 10 plus 2. In our education system, 10 is the school finishing
Yeah.
and 2 is the pre-graduation.
Okay.
So you can enter at the after completing 12th standard, and you have to have physics, chemistry, and maths, PCM.
Okay. And sir, what
You
about
can also
people?
there are also uh, education. BSc in aviation is uh, given by the Bombay University,
Hmm,
and similar BSc courses are offered in other universities also. Yeah, carry on.
But But sir, okay, so understood. So from after graduation, someone can start their course in the aviation industry if needed. They can also do further, sorry, after school, they can start that, and then they can even do graduation from universities if needed. If in case I have not taken PCM in school and have potentially done any other course or professional qualification, say I became a chartered accountant or a lawyer or something, later on also, is it possible for me to just enroll to one of these flying schools and become a pilot? And is the process the same?
You can become a private pilot license holder. There
Yeah.
is no requirement for an age or education. Let me also
Okay.
give you a little bit of information, recent information. The Government of India, Ministry of Civil Aviation, and the Director General of Civil Aviation is contemplating with an idea that they want to bring in more people into the fold of aviation. You need not have PCM. You can be a arts graduate or a commerce graduate. That idea has
Okay.
been floated.
Is
It is
still
still not accepted by the authorities yet, but something of that nature is on the card.
okay. Understood. Um, Perfect. So I think, sir, we talked about the classification of various types of aircrafts. I wanted to, I've got like eight categories in the scope of services within the aviation industry. And I wanted to just take each one of them and see like what are the latest emerging technologies or things that are coming in. So the first is the passenger services. This is where we talked about the bigger airplanes. There is a, new demand, there's a scope. I think in terms of the air taxis, I don't know if you've heard of the new growth that is happening in Silicon Valley. They've got more than a billion of funding for multiple air taxi type companies, which have launched these new taxis which can fly or do smaller shorter trips of which are like just 2 hours, and they're all electric. So I think in terms of this passenger services industry, where do you see India going in terms of this air taxi or this upcoming emerging market?
Your question is very interesting and pertinent. India has developed
Yeah,
a UAV, unmanned uh, unmanned vertical unmanned UAV unmanned aircraft vehicle air vehicle policy
yeah,
uh, some 3 years back,
yeah,
and now the drone industry is growing steadily in India.
yeah.
There are youngsters who are developing drones, or what you term as air taxi, that is coming into fruition. There is a association which is involved in this. I am part of the association.
Okay.
Then it is coming slow and steady. In
Yeah,
fact, the company I work with currently,
yeah.
they also have a drone manufacturing unit. Though
Okay.
it is on drawing board, our company is going to build a two, two or three types of drones
Yeah.
for various application.
But sir, in
So
terms of the industry, do you expect India to have air taxis and things like that
yes, of course,
manufactured in
of
India in
course,
the
of
upcoming
course,
how many years?
because
2 years, 10
because
years?
yeah, in the next 5 years you will see air taxis flying from, say, point A to point B. You stay in Delhi, I will tell you, from Pragati Maidan to your house, perhaps.
Sir, like that growth is a little uncanny. I think this is like in 90s
No, it will.
when technology was coming, people used to think like with the phone that, this is a new thing. Now I feel like with air taxis, that's going to be the thing. Like we are just thinking, is that really possible? But
No,
it's
it is
quite
going to
close.
happen. It is quite close. Work is progressing well, and the government understands. Otherwise, there would not have been a policy.
Hmm.
So people were building drones, but unofficially. Now it is a regulated industry. People are building drones and anti-drones for the defense. And this air taxi business is being looked into very, very seriously.
Hmm.
And they want to do it, and things are progressing. I won't be able to give you the entire story today,
No,
but
no, of course not.
I can tell you it is happening. And
Okay.
in the next 5 years, you will have Uber taxis and Ola taxis from your home to your sabji mandi.
But sir, I think you've done journalism in the aviation industry as well, right? And you've seen
Correct.
grassroots level businesses in this space. I think a bigger society impact question would be on one side, we are seeing a lot of job losses because in the corporate world, people are becoming redundant. With AI and the new technology, jobs are going in. On the other side, we are seeing taxis or air taxis coming in, and which is a completely new level of technology that is coming into the play. So, I think from your perspective, how do you see both of these going hand in hand? Like the people who've become redundant or who've been going through the traditional systems, how do they upgrade themselves? And then the ones which are going too fast, how do they kind of create growth in
You
a
can't
sustainable manner?
you can't match both these sides together.
Yeah,
India is a big country, and say generations like yours or a little less older than you
yeah,
have entered into the IT field.
yeah,
And now with Mr. Trump's ludicrous idea,
yeah,
people are losing jobs.
yeah,
They will come back to India and there will be no job left.
yeah,
But I am sure that the IT industry, which is very strong rooted in India, though they
yeah,
do international jobs, they will open up platforms in India and these
yeah,
youngsters don't have to go overseas.
yeah,
They will not lose their job.
yeah,
Okay. So that is there one side. The other side is the technology that is coming into the air taxi and other things that will also require IT
yes,
because that is the need of the hour. And some of the IT specialists who have been working in traditional field may turn and join this aviation field also. Their
okay,
aviation field will absorb some of the people who have specialized in the IT field.
okay.
I
Makes
hope I
sense.
have answered your
No, no.
question.
Yeah, makes that's really helpful. Thank you so much. The second would be the cargo and logistics. Again, this is a big space where there's a lot of with the trade increasing across the world. But then at the same time, there are talks about globalization and localization. How do we make it more efficient and sustainable in terms of the impact on environment, and the carbon emissions that these cargoes do as well? So I think, as a industry expert, what would your views be on the cargo and logistics and the upcoming technologies in this market?
See, aviation cargo is the least carbon emitted cargo. Uh, Whatever travels on cargo plane or underbelly, we do not allow DG cargo, dangerous good cargo. So, in aviation industry, cargo, uh, air cargo does not emit carbon. So, though the aircraft may, but the cargo per se doesn't. So, in India, we have some dedicated airline which come to south of India to collect hosiery items from Tamil Nadu. Some come to Bangalore to collect horticulture, flowers, and other things.
Hmm.
So this trade has been going on for long,
Mm-hmm.
and this trade is growing. We used
Mm-hmm.
to, from Gujarat, there are quite a lot of pharmaceutical things going abroad,
Mm-hmm.
but with the traditionally they were going to USA. With Mr. Trump's uh, this
Yeah,
I
I
don't
get
want to
it.
say
Yeah, yeah, I
anything.
get it. I get it.
So it is going to really affect the flow.
mm,
It'll come down a little,
mm,
but I'm sure Indian pharmacy industry will find other markets where
mm.
they can see. Ayurveda has been in our blood for ages,
Yeah.
and US had to the Haldi thing that you
Mm,
know very well. They wanted to patent that, but
mm,
Haldi went from India. So
mm,
things of that nature, Ayurveda, pharmacy has been a very big player
mm.
in Indian air cargo trade. Plus electronics. Now you have the Apple phones being manufactured in India, at
Yeah.
least part of them. So
Yeah.
that industry will also grow. We will have to export these phones. So I think the industry, though it will have a slight dip because of the US policy, it is going to grow exponentially
Okay. So
in the
overall,
future.
sir, do you think the cargo and logistics industry is comparatively more carbon efficient because
Yes,
of
it is.
the cargo setups, but then the aircrafts, how which
The
kind of aircraft
aircraft, yeah, that
that
will
contributes.
only emit the carbon.
Okay. And then in
If
terms,
I'm not mistaken, Indian carbon emission is not too high.
yes, I think globally India is not the top carbon emitter. China and Russia sit based on
Yeah.
the data sets that have been shared right now. But I do think there's a fudging in the data sets as well. And in terms of reality, there needs to be a more holistic assessment. However, based on my understanding, I think people in India, they're very karma focused or a little aware of their activities. And so, wherever possible, they do try and take care of certain things from that angle. However, I think there is lack of awareness on sustainability because it's a niche industry right now. So, the more awareness we are able to create, the more people can come together. Um, okay, so I
I
think
agree with you.
perfect. Then we also talked about the
One
airport and the
more,
ground.
one more,
Sorry. Sure,
one
sure,
more.
sure.
For the carbon emission thing,
Yeah,
I would request you to go to ICAO
yeah,
and IATA
yeah,
websites
yeah,
and search for the carbon emission matrix they have for
yeah,
all the countries.
yeah.
So that will give you a better idea and an authentic idea.
Okay.
Because these two bodies, they are international bodies,
Yeah,
both are situated in Canada
yeah.
and they control the entire aviation industry.
Okay. Perfect. I will do that, sir. And then potentially we can even ask them to be part of the consortium if because I think they are anyways working on this. The third thing I wanted to talk about is the airport and ground handling. If you're okay to continue, if you want a break, sir, we can take a break.
No, no, I am there. Tell
Okay.
me.
Yeah, so the third industry I want to talk about was the airport and the ground handling industry. Again, the airports are increasing at a good rate. The kind of
Yeah.
airports we have are like literally five-star airports and can be at an international standard. I think what do you think about the airport and the ground handling industry? What are the scope of emerging technologies coming in that sector?
As you rightly said, India has got new airports coming up. One in Noida that you are aware. The other one is in Bombay, New Bombay. Those are two greenfield airports that will come up, one on 30th of September, the other in October. Uh, but they have to grow. It is the only the initial stages. Subsequently, they grow into a bigger airport. Apart from the current airport in Delhi and Bombay, we will have these two other airports. Bangalore airport, I am not sure if you went to Bangalore this trip that you came. Bangalore airport is building massively. One side of the airport was there, they have now built the other side. So it is a very big airport. Then there are other airports in hinterland which are being developed, which are growing big. For ground handling, we had depended on Selbinas of Turkey. With the recent problem with Pakistan, where Turkey supported Pakistan, we have terminated the services of Selbinas. The other agencies have taken over the ground handling uh, work, and they are working well. So I do not have any further information on this subject.
Sir, but I think in terms of upcoming technologies from an airport, from an aviation perspective, are you seeing any growth there or any new things that you've heard of from aircraft to
Yeah.
aviation to
So this ground handling, once you call ground handling, they have better tug system to tug away the aircraft. They have tugs where the aircraft comes to the runway, switch off its engine, and then it is towed to the parking bay or your, what do you call it, the arm where it has to dock. So there are efficiency coming in to the ground handling system, a
okay.
little bit slowly.
Okay, perfect. Um, the next one is MRO. Again, you are an expert in this section of maintenance, and I think what do you see maintenance, repair, and overhaul? Do you see any scope, like we were discussing, of whether using the old spare parts or what can be done of them? Because this is a very expensive industry and even more expensive than real estate from that perspective because one asset is quite expensive and takes a lot of money and effort to build out. So what is it that we could do in MRO and any upcoming emerging technologies here?
See, the MRO, Indian MRO industry is today 2 billion US dollar worth. And I see its growth in next 2 to 4 years to 4 billion US dollars. But we are, as India, we are only 1% of the total MRO spend. But having said the size of fleet we have in India, including the business aircraft, the general aircraft, and helicopter fleet, we are really good here. We also paint aircraft, we do servicing up to D check, which is 500 hours. Of we return aircraft of which are taken on lease. We also um, do A, B, and C checks, which are normal checks. Plus, we did do D checks, which are around 500 hours, where you have to put down the aircraft and then give it back to the airline or the lessor. That is the major check. So everything is being done in India. We used to send aircraft outside. Still, some airlines do that, but most of the aircraft are now serviced in India.
Okay.
So the
So,
MRO industry, which was a non-entity in 2011, has found its place in 2025. More so with the fleet coming in, there is a requirement for a robust MRO industry to serve the airline. You may be aware that Air India itself, the Tata Group, is opening up pilot training school, AME training school, and full-fledged MRO. Similarly, Indigo has also opened up an MRO. So it's not in the realms of chota players. You have big players like Adani, Airworks, uh, Air India Engineering Services, that's government entity. You have Indamar, which is
yeah,
doing a big job in Nagpur,
yeah.
and there are smaller ones. So it's an ecosystem that is operating.
Okay.
You
And
know,
so
one does
earlier was it like everything was manufactured outside India and then it was
thing.
exported?
See,
Mhm.
OEMs do manufacture things in India,
Okay.
but they do not allow Indian companies to sell them in India. They have to go back to the OEM stores. The nearest store would be Singapore, and from there they will be distributed to the operators in India.
But sir, isn't that cost inefficient? Because these are not
It
just
is.
like it
It
is
is.
not just a candy
It's
that I can just take from one place to another. It's
it's
a proper
monopoly
aircraft.
of the OEMs. It's a
Sorry.
monopoly of the OEMs.
Okay. So because of
See,
that reason, even though it's cost inefficient, it has to go back, uh, and
yeah,
then and then it's sold again and to the best price seller. But I think now with technology and all of these things, even if and the growth of technology, sustainability, do you see an opportunity of potentially doing local checks and quality checks in the local locations, and then sending it to the final location only when the final sale is made, which could make it more efficient?
you're correct. Not the entire aircraft is manufactured by Airbus
Yeah,
in Toulouse, or
yeah,
not the entire aircraft is manufactured by Boeing in Seattle.
yeah.
There are partners who build each section of the aircraft and ship it to the final assembly unit, right?
Yeah.
Uh, if you are a keen traveler, you will see on certain Boeing aircraft, there are tags saying made in India. There are certain Airbus aircraft where tags are mentioned made in India. So we are manufacturing for all these world leader in the
Mm-hmm.
aviation industry. But
Okay.
we are not allowed to consume it locally.
Okay.
That is what
So
I was
even if
saying that, yeah,
okay.
you can't buy
So but
them. They are
but
under
so,
a treaty with the manufacturer.
but even from a consumption perspective, my point was that say it's manufactured in India, then it has to be exported back outside physically as well,
Yes,
and then
yes.
and that's quite inefficient in terms of the process. And I think that's not just for aircraft, that's potentially happening for a lot of other industries as well. But aircraft being the
See,
biggest example, because it's
yeah.
not a tiny
Hmm.
book.
If
Yeah.
France manufactures certain things, I am sure a French airline can buy that.
Yeah.
If Canada manufactures certain things, a Canadian airline can buy it. Similarly, the US manufacturer, I mean, part manufacturer can buy, apart from the OEM, you can buy it on the
Yeah.
market. This has been a lack of bilateral ties between our country and other countries so that we are not able to buy products made in India for aerospace purpose.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So
understood.
MRO Association has also worked with the government on these anomalies.
Okay, understood. Um, then the fifth one would be, sir, aircraft manufacturing and leasing. I think we talked about the manufacturing within the MRO section, but about the leasing, can you give us a highlight of the industry stats of how how much of it is like owned and operated completely by the airlines and how much of it is leasing, and what are the emerging technologies in this space?
In the leasing field, at one time it was 100% leased aircraft. Now that ratio has come down. But having said so, the government of India has opened up Gift City in Gujarat, where where one can get aircraft on lease. Not only aircraft, you can get aero engine, you can get other things on lease. So what happens is leasing market is growing in India, and there are several Indian companies, including airlines, who have opened offices in Gift City. So they are trying to get a better deal of leasing through India. You know, traditionally, leasing market is in your part of the world, in Shannon, Ireland, or other places around that. So the Indian airline industry and other companies are trying to lease out aircraft from this gift city in India. You know, gift city is in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad.
I've heard of
So
it, but I'll research after you've told me. But
yeah, so
okay,
it's in Ahmedabad.
okay,
So that has been created to deal with these leasing things,
okay.
leasing aircraft, and this is where the government claims that we are gaining because the lease rates in um, Ireland or other countries
It's
where
lower.
they lease out from
Yeah.
is much higher than it is leased out from India.
Okay.
So India has that mechanism, and they are all the airlines are depending on this. Indigo has a separate office in Gift City. Air India has an office in Gift City.
Mm-hmm.
There are other MROs who have got in Gift City.
Okay.
There are other leasing companies who have I mean, Indian leasing companies who have their offices there and are dealing in leased aircraft from that side. So I think after some time, uh, a few years, we will use the leasing platform that has been created by India very efficient.
Understood. Um, then, sir, from safety, security, and compliance perspective, again, there is a lot of news around that as well in the past. There was just one case that recently happened where the plane crashed in Ahmedabad and the passengers died as well. So safety, security, and compliance in relation to the regulatory requirements is a very important need, not just in passenger aircraft, but also in relation to the army in relation to all of the other categories that happen. So, yeah, what do you think are the challenges and what are the emerging technologies in that space?
If you go into the history of Indian aviation,
Yeah,
this crash in Ahmedabad has happened after several decades.
yes,
The Indian DGCA is very, very strict about following the norms,
yeah,
and they have been regularly checked, audited by ICAO
yeah,
and FAA and EASA.
yeah,
So some of the points that came on in the audits
yeah,
have been cleared by the DGCA.
yeah,
So DGCA is working very, very well. In fact, our DG Director General of Civil Aviation has recently received an award at
yeah,
the ICAO General Meeting.
yeah.
So unless and until our DGCA is good, no one is going to award you
Yes, yes,
the DG. So
yes.
ours, we follow all the thing, EASA and FAA, but there are some problem between these two world bodies where they don't agree to uh, our norm. They don't recognize us as DGCA, but we have to recognize them as world body. So there are some talks going on between the Indian Ministry of Civil Aviation and uh, EASA and FAA to bring it under one umbrella. We follow the car 66, which is similar to JA 66. That is EASA 66. For we follow EASA. Apart from our DGCA norms, we have now started adopting to EASA very deliberately, and we are trying to come to an international standard.
Hmm. Understood. But sir, in terms of the you must know about it much more deeply. I don't know as much. But in terms of the lapse that happened because of the crash, there was a security lapse, safety lapse, or a compliance lapse. What exactly happened? And then what do you think is an emerging technology or a space where more work can be done now or in the future?
See, I have always said this: dead men don't tell tales.
Mm,
Really, yes, tales. He can't defend himself.
of course.
But do you think a pilot with so many people on board would want to do a suicide?
Of course not. And a person who's built his entire life around this worked. I know I've seen. In fact, one of my friend was a pilot, and he was telling me about a story when he had a very close experience, and he how in the last 5 seconds or the last 1 minute he saved that entire flight. How they and so I know how hard it is. Like and it's a lot of emotional resilience. You have to deal with it because it's not just a responsibility on a soft terms and you can just ignore it. It's a real responsibility of the life, and one small thing can really. So I don't think it's them or the technical specialists or the engineers or the pilots, but I think what I'm trying to understand is what are the places where a lapse has happened and where do you think there can be a
They
futuristic.
say that a switch was put out.
Yeah,
Two pilots are in the cockpit. If one pilot puts it down, which is not correct, the other pilot will not know. This is actually, there was an inquiry, some 15 pages came out. They were to give more pages, but it did not happen because they did not want, Boeing was to be blamed, and Boeing did not want to take the blame. So it
That's
is
always
going
the case.
around the bush.
Yeah.
I do not want to comment on this anymore.
Yeah, no, understood. Um, any emerging technologies, anything that you think, sir? I think what you mentioned, that is a great one, where DGCA being given an authoritative role in the global environment. That can be a new thing. Any technologies or anything that you've heard of in this space from a safety and security perspective?
See, there are emerging technologies, all are coming into aviation
Yeah,
slowly but steadily.
yeah,
They are being tested out
yeah,
and made feasible. It
yeah,
will take time. And
yeah,
those technologies are not commonly known,
yeah,
as you can understand.
yeah.
They are not commonly known. So, if there is something happening in the Indian industry, I would not be able to pinpoint at this moment and
Okay,
tell you that this thing is happening.
okay,
There
perfect.
is. Aviation is a field which evolves every minute.
Yeah, 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 definitely. And I think honestly, I wanted to do this as more of an overarching industry-wise discussion, and then potentially in the future we can do a little more detail, bring
Yeah.
that specific focus. Okay, so the last two I think we've already covered. One was training and human resources. You already talked about that, about the flying schools. And the last is tourism. So again, with aviation, a lot of tourism is linked. So any thoughts on that industry?
Aviation industry is the backbone of Indian tourism industry,
Yeah.
and Indian aviation industry has served the Indian tourism industry very well. The
Yeah,
other part of the tourism industry is hotels.
yeah,
There have to be hotels, and as you know, India has got hotels of every category,
yeah,
for a budget tourist to a luxury tourist.
yeah,
So you can hire a palace in Jaipur, or you can hire a Oyo room or a Bloom room in Safdarjung in Delhi,
yeah.
or
I
Vikaspuri
agree.
in Delhi,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So we cater to the entire band,
yeah,
and we not only have tourists coming into India, we have internal domestic tourists as well.
mm,
This is the time then, this time during Dasera, there is a movement from all part of India to Bengal to celebrate Durga Puja.
yeah,
Similarly, next month when we have Dasera, you will have people traveling from all over the country to their hometown
yeah,
to celebrate Dasera.
yeah,
Today, the youngsters of your age or less age, uh, you're not a Gen Z. So,
yeah,
uh, Gen Zs I am talking about, and people of your age search for tickets which they get at a
cheapest.
lower cost,
Yeah, yeah. Sir, I also do
3 months,
that. Yeah.
4 months, eh, and
Oh,
they mark that in their calendar and they take leave and go home and come back, or go for tourism and come back. I
yeah,
know people who travel on Friday evening after work and
yeah,
come back on Monday morning to their office.
yeah.
This was not evident in our times when I started.
Of course, yeah.
Affordability, okay, affordability. may not be there, but they know the window where they can get good fare.
Yeah.
So this savviness of buying ticket was not there in our time.
Yeah.
You have come from England. You must have spent hell of a lot of pounds, but you must have also checked who is giving you the lowest fare.
Was there was an year, sir, I traveled back to India, I think 16 times in one year. I couldn't have
Times.
traveled if in case I was just flying on any price. So I totally get it. And I think almost everyone I know is quite savvy in terms of how how to book tickets and kind of which days to look for, how to do it. And especially because when you stay away from your family, and a lot of expats on NRIs, when we stay away from family, we find those opportunities to go back as soon as possible and travel and take a break whenever it's needed. So yeah, I think that is a huge industry which is profitable as well. I feel like
Yeah.
more than the basic aviation industry, tourism is that
Mhm.
industry in terms of sales and promotion and everything when it's given in a package, which is potentially making the most profit, even if the airlines are going bust. They are making
Yeah.
most profit of
Yeah.
because they don't have the capital infrastructure. They are just benefiting out of the tech and the community, which anyways has the need.
See, in yesteryears, you had a
Yeah,
travel agency.
yeah,
Who would you go to them? They will do your itinerary, they'll book your ticket, they'll get you the visa and everything. Now everything is online. So that
yeah,
industry has died out. But
yeah,
tourism has not died. And
yeah,
there are state governments which give incentive to more tourists. You know,
yeah, yeah,
Rajasthan is
definitely.
one of them. Punjab is one of them.
Yeah,
Gujarat used to give good incentive to tourists. So
yeah,
there are states in India which attract a lot of tourists, like Pushkar.
yeah,
During the
yeah.
time when Pushkar has a mela, there is lots of tourism, international tourism comes in.
Yeah,
Then the white sands of Run of Kutch, that is another
yeah,
attraction. Kerala is
yeah,
another attraction. Pondicherry is another attraction where uh, people of French origin they want to come. Then your
yeah,
Kerala is a roaring example.
yeah.
So there are good tourism, uh, and the tourism ministry has been taking right steps, I may say, in direction to booster tourists all over India.
Perfect. I think that's it for today. But that was really, really helpful. Thank you
Well,
so much for talking about all of these industries. And I think, but in my experience, and I've worked, as you know, I've worked for 13 years across about six, seven countries. But I think in my experience, you are potentially one of the most experienced person across the aviation that
thank you.
I've come across with. And I feel like you are in a very strong position to suggest how can we make it more sustainable, get more leaders in play, and we can work together to create awareness of how can this industry together flourish as well as be an example for other industries as well.
Yeah, I think this platform is required, and we should get more people of different field to join
Yeah,
so that their valuable inputs will help us to make this platform a look to platform for all aviation industry.
absolutely. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you very
so, so
much,
much.
Priya. God
Thank
bless
you.
you. Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
Have a good day. Bye.